Hi there, everyone. Welcome back to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney, and today is Tuesday, June 22nd. Thank you for being here for the top stories from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. We start off today with a story that broke yesterday that the LGBTQ plus community is calling a major stride for visibility. Former Cleveland Browns defensive end Carl Nassib has become the first active NFL player to come out as openly gay. He announced this on Monday in an Instagram post. He is currently a player for the Las Vegas Raiders. He said he just wanted to take a quick moment to say that he is gay and that he's been meaning to do it for a while now, but he finally felt comfortable enough to reveal that information. And he said that he thinks that visibility and representation are incredibly important. He hopes that one day videos like his where he announced his sexuality won't be necessary. But until then, he's going to do his best and do his part to cultivate a culture that is accepting and compassionate. And he also said that he'll start by donating $100,000 to the Trevor Project. Now, if you're not familiar with the Trevor Project was founded in 1998, and it focuses on suicide prevention efforts among the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning youth. They've got a toll-free number, which we have linked on WKYC.com, that accesses the Trevor Lifeline, and it's a confidential service that offers trained counselors. Now, Nassib was drafted by the Browns in the third round of the 2016 NFL draft. He came out of Penn State. He played 2 seasons in Cleveland. He had 50 total tackles and 5.5 sacks, and then he was waived prior to the 2018 season where he joined the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Spent 2 seasons with the Bucs before signing a 3-year, $25 million contract with the Raiders in 2020. And if you're like me and you watched the HBO special Hard Knocks training camps with the Cleveland Browns, that was in 2018. You remember Nassib being the player who taught his fellow young players about financial planning. More about that on WKYC.com. Now, the White House is saying today that more than 70% of Americans 30 or older have received at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. This is as President Joe Biden is expected to not meet his goal of 70% of all adults being vaccinated by July 4th. But this new data now says that they expect Americans aged 27 or older to have at least one shot, 70% of those Americans ages 27 or older to have at least one COVID-19 vaccination shot by July 4th. The White House says now it's redoubling its focus on vaccinating younger Americans between the ages of 18 and 26, and that they have proved to be the least likely to get a vaccine when it's available to them. The White House said that while that was a goal they were targeting, it's less important than the pace of the nation's reopening, which is exceeding, they say, their own internal projections, as the overwhelming majority of the nation's most vulnerable people are fully vaccinated. Cases and deaths are at their lowest rates since the earliest days of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, a new study is showing that it's nearly 1/3 of Americans who are waiting on full FDA approval to get the COVID-19 vaccine. This is a recent Kaiser Family Foundation survey, and that they're waiting for that full FDA approval before they would feel comfortable getting the vaccine. The existing vaccines in circulation, of course, we know have only been given emergency use authorization by the FDA. Officials believe that once full clearance is given from the FDA, there may be a big uptick in mandated vaccines at your places of employment. Rainbow Babies and Children's Hospital pediatric infectious disease specialist Dr. Amy Edwards says that the COVID-19 Delta variant may also play a role in this too. It's predicted to be the leading strand in the U.S. by the fall. The doctor said that when outbreaks start happening and people start to get hospitalized, she's predicting that that might encourage people to get vaccinated. She also says there's no way to know when these vaccinations will need boosters, but we'll be looking at breakthrough infections in study participants, those people who got the COVID-19 vaccines early on. They're coming up on a year since their first dose, and that'll be the benchmark where we start to see how long that protection lasts. Dr. Edwards also says that it would be nice to think that natural infection will play a role in herd immunity, but in people 65 and older, that protection seems to drop off quickly. Now, younger people have about 85% protection for a few months, but those over may have up to 25%. Natural infection, she says, just doesn't provide a ton of immunity for people over the age of 65 that can't really be relied on, so still important to get people vaccinated. Now let's take a look at the latest COVID-19 numbers. These numbers come from Johns Hopkins University. Globally, there have been 178,912,855 reported COVID-19 cases. In the U.S., we have 18.8% of those cases with 33,557,204. There have been 3,875,509 reported COVID-19 deaths. In the U.S., we have 15.5% of those deaths, that number down 1/10 of a percentage point again from yesterday, with 602,241. Here in Ohio, since Friday, the Ohio Department of Health has reported 47 more COVID-19 deaths, and in the last day, there have been 349 new reported COVID-19 cases. We've seen 88 new hospitalizations in the last day, with 292 people currently in the hospital. Of those, 88 people are being treated in the intensive care unit, and we've seen 14 new ICU admissions in the last day. Here in Ohio, almost 10,000 more people have completed the vaccination process in the last day, and more than 7,000 people have started the vaccination process in the last day. Yesterday, on the road, the Tribe beat the Chicago Cubs 4-0. That was after losing Aaron Cavaliers to a finger injury. But Bobby Bradley and Josh Naylor played a big role in that with home runs, helping the Tribe overcome the loss of that pitcher during the Cubs game. Cavaliers leads the majors with 10 wins, but he exited with 2 players out in the 5th inning because of an injury to his right middle finger. Not exactly sure the extent of the situation, but that's just another person added to the injured list on the Tribe, which has been racking those names up over the past week. The Tribe now is at 40 wins and 30 losses. They're now within 2 games of the Chicago White Sox for the top spot in the American Central League, and the Tribe will take on the Cubs again tonight at Wrigley Field with the first pitch at 8:05 p.m., and that'll be the end of that short 2-game series. Back here in Cleveland in the basketball world, Cavs forward Kevin Love has now committed to play for Team USA in the 2020 Summer Olympics. That's according to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reporting that. Now, those games in Tokyo are set to begin next month. This will be Love's second time playing for Team USA. Of course, these Olympics being held a year later than scheduled because of the pandemic. Love appeared for Team USA in 2012. He played in all 8 games. He averaged 11.6 points per game and his team high 7.6 rebounds throughout the run to the second of now 3 consecutive gold medals for Team USA. Now, the roster is not yet finalized, but here's who we do know will be on his team with him: Damian Lillard, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, James Harden, Bradley Beal, Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant, Chris Middleton, Draymond Green, Bam Adebayo, and now Kevin Love. The opening ceremonies for the 2020 Summer Olympics take place on Friday, July 23rd, so just over a month from now. And today is the 5-year anniversary of the Cleveland Cavaliers championship parade. Now, if you remember, in 2014, after LeBron James re-signed with the Cavs following his 4 years with the Miami Heat, he predicted something. He said, "For me, I've had a vision of boats and floats going down East 9th Street in a parade." Well, it was less than 2 years later when that happened, and that became a reality, and that was 5 years ago now. So it was 3 days after James and the Cavs beat the Golden State Warriors in Game 7 of the 2016 NBA Finals that capped off that 3-1 series comeback. Downtown Cleveland was filled with people celebrating that, and that was the first major sports championship here in Cleveland in 52 years. And floats filled East 9th Street just like LeBron James predicted, made their way around town to what has now widely been accepted to be 1.3 million fans. That's where J.R. Smith had his shirt off, Tyronn Lue was rapping, Kyrie Irving was drinking, Kevin Love was carrying not 1 but 2 WWE Championship belts by the end of it all. And then they went to Mall B downtown Cleveland to give speeches. James said in part he's nothing without the guys behind him, nothing without the coaching, nothing without the city. He said everyone was unbelievable and that he loved everybody and he wanted to get ready for next year. You can relive some of the best moments from that championship parade 5 years later in a slideshow on WKYC.com. And if you are a fan of the Bachelor franchise, you may have seen one of our own, Michael Allio, winning the hearts of Bachelor Nation last night. It was episode 3 of this current season of The Bachelorette, where everyone is vying for the love of Katie Thurston. Well, Michael won the heart of not only seemingly Katie in the show that aired last night, but also Bachelor Nation when he opened up to Katie on a one-on-one date talking about the loss of his wife, Laura, who died from breast cancer in January of 2019. Now, Laura was diagnosed with that breast cancer just 7 months after their son, James, was born. James, now 4-year-old. So Michael now raising James as a single dad and saying that he's now open and ready for love, and to be able to fall in love twice is a real gift. And that got the tears going for everyone. It definitely got the tears going for Katie. Michael was getting emotional sharing that. And earlier in that date, while they were in the desert sipping champagne beside a dune buggy, he told her, people say that the Bachelor franchise ends hopefully with an engagement, but Michael said, no, the engagement is actually where it starts. That's just the beginning. And you can tell that really resonated with Katie on that date. So at the end of that one-on-one date, Michael got his 3rd rose from Katie. So he will continue on in the journey to try and win the heart of Katie Thurston, this season's Bachelorette. And we will be following along the way. Of course, you can watch that Monday nights on ABC. But you get to the recap here from us on Tuesday when we talk about how Michael's journey is progressing in the journey for love. All right, that's it for your 3 News Now update today for Tuesday, June 22nd. I will see you next up on What's New with your trending stories in the Clicking in Cleveland segment, and also the 3rd in our series about egg freezing. We'll be talking about the cost, insurance coverage, and of course, me being the lawyer that I am, we'll talk about the legal concerns that you have to think about if you're going to go through this process, particularly with a partner. And that's coming up on What's New. If you don't have access to traditional TV, you can watch that on the WKYC app and also on WKYC.com. But don't forget, we have a WKYC app on Roku and Fire TV where you can also watch the show live. All right, that's it for this now, and I'll see you back here tomorrow with more 3 News Now.